सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णाच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरते यौपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेरि विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओमित्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ओमिति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम् यावद्विकारं तु विभागः लोकवत् यावत् किंचित विकारजातं दृश्यते is our observation that wherever we find vikara tavaneva vibhago loke lakshyate. So this is an observation that wherever there is vikara, wherever there is modification, wherever there is an effect, wherever there is a product, there is also the vibhaga is separatedness. And again, the Purvapaksha Anumana was Akasha na utpadyate samagri shunyatvat. The Akasha is not created, space is not created, samagri shunyatvat, because there is no samagri, no adequate requisite factors required for creation, they are not there. To that, the Sat Pratipaksham. That there is the paksha. In the paksha also the hetu is there. Akasha vibhagaha, vikaraha vibhaktatvat ghatadivaditi. That akasha is vikara, is a modification, is an effect, is created vibhaktatvat, because it is separated from others. So different points raised by the Purvapaksha. In this case, in fact, the Ekadashi are being refuted one by one. नापि एकमेव आरभते अनेकमेव आरभते न एकमिति नियमः अस्ति. There is no rule that only many members or many things alone can create something. An effect is produced only when the material cause has many members. It's not a rule. Even one thing also can produce an effect. Effect can be of two kinds. Effect can be just any effect, such as when I push something, there is a motion. That's also an effect. Other effect is a product. When from the clay, you make a pot, there is also called an effect, there is products. So according to Vaisheshikas, clay is one dravya and pot is another dravya, so dravyantaram. So from one dravya is created another dravya. Altogether a new dravya, because they say asat karyavada. They say that the effect is not present in the cause, material cause. So both these ways, this position is analyzed. Whether can any effect be created? For creating any effect, vikara, do we require more than one? Or one can also create some effect? Says anumanasoho adya karma arambha abhivagamat. Because it is said that anu, an atom, as well as mind, also initiate or create an initial activity. Ekeko hi paramanuhu manascha adyam karma arabhate na dravyantara samhatyeti abhivagamyate. That for one atom to combine with another atom so that it becomes dvanuk. So two atoms can combine provided there is sanyoga, association or conjunction or bond between them. Then alone the two can be together. So how do you create that bond? How do you create that sanyoga? So one atom takes the initiative to join with another atom and thereby create sanyoga. So sanyoga also is in effect. Thus, one only, they don't require two. An atom without the association with another atom or another substance is able to create an effect called sanyoga or conjunction. Similarly, the mind also should unite with self or atma, then consciousness is created. So there also there must be sanyoga, there must be a conjunction of the mind and the self. So there also mind initiates an activity so that the sanyoga with the self is created. So this is creating any effect. So for creating an effect, there is no rule that you require more than one. That one also can do that. Then the Purva Paksha says, Dravyarambheva aneka arambhakatva niyamah iti ched. So we do not say that for creating any effect that you require more than one, but to create another dravya, to create another substance, such as a pot from the clay, you require not just one particle of clay, many particles of clay. Or to create, for example, cloth, which is substance from this yarn, you require many yarns and not just one yarn. That is what we mean. Meaning that this rule is applicable with reference to creating a dravya or a substance. Na parinama abhivagamat. That we say that we do not accept your asatkaryavada. What is asatkaryavada? That a non-existent dravya or substance is created. He says, no, we accept parinama, that an existing substance alone gets transformed to become effect. You understand this? What is according to the Vedantin, what's the karya? Is that तदेव तो द्रव्यम विशेषवत् अवस्थान्तरम आपद्यमानम कार्यम नाम अभ्युपगम्यते. So we say, what is karya, what is effect? Such as the pot. Is clay alone in a different state with some peculiarities? That clay alone in a different state with some peculiarities is called pot. What is ornament? Gold alone in a different state with some peculiarities is called an ornament. So it's a transformation of gold into ornament with some peculiarity like bangleness, then earringness, etc. So we do not accept that a non-existent bangle is created. We say that the bangle is nothing but parinama, transformation of gold with some peculiarities. That being the case, even one thing also can initiate the effect. Tats kvachit anekam parinamate mrut bijadi ankuradi bhavena. In this case, sometimes we find that you require more than one members, such as soil and seed to create a sprout. Certainly, more than one thing are required. Kvachit ekam parinamate. When you accept this parinamavada, in kvachit ekam parinamate kshiradi dadhyadi bhavena. Just as the milk gets transformed into curd, there is only one milk transformed into curd. So there is no rule that you require more than one. न ईश्वर शासनमस्ति अनेकमेव कारणम कायम जनयति. You don't find the Vedas saying this. This is what you are saying. That अनेकमेव कारणम कायम जनयति. Many causes or many members of the material cause are required to create an effect. This is your rule. This is not Ishvara rule, meaning that this is not what the Vedas say, this is what you say. Therefore, Paurushayasya, this is all this dravya and guna, all this paribhasha is what you have created. And that paribhasha, all this whole process, the whole structure that you have thought of cannot be adequate to deny what the Shruti says. What do you think is Paurushaya emerging from the human intellect? And what emerges from human intellect is likely to be have a blemish of all the limitations of human intellect, and therefore that cannot be cited as a basis for denying what the Shruti says. अतः श्रुति प्रामाण्यात् एकस्मात् ब्रह्मणः आकाशादि महाभूतोत्पत्ति क्रमेण जगज्जातमिति निश्चयते. Because our point is that Brahman is ekam advityam. Even one Brahman, that is one without a second, can be the cause for creating this universe with all its variety and diversity. Atah Shruti Pramanyat. Therefore, on the Pramanyam, on the authority of the Shruti, Ekasmat Brahmana, from Brahman which is one without a second, Akashadi Mahabhuta Utpatti Kramena, in the krama of the sequence of Utpatti creation of the beginning elements, beginning with space, this whole universe is created from Brahman which is one without a second. तथा च उक्तम उपहार संहार उपसुत संहार दर्शनात् न इति यत् न क्षीरवद्धि. We saw that the argument was that we find that an efficient cause such as a pot maker always reaches out for something like clay to create a pot. Meaning that one is not enough to create, you always require something else. Kshira, answer was given that Kshira or the milk does not require anything else to get transformed into curd. There is no rule that you need more than one thing. Now continuing on the page 510, says Ratnava Pragabhava Shunyatva Hetu Api Asiddha Ityaha. Pragabhava Shunyatva. See, if you go to page 501, in the first line, Bhashya said, Utpatti Madam cha Tejas Prabhutinam Purvottara Kalayoho Vishesha Sambhavyade Prag Utpatte. This is called Pragabhava, the prior non-existence. When a thing does not exist, and then when it comes to existence, some change has to happen. So when a thing is there, some Vishesha is there. When it is not there, then Vishesha is not there. So child is born, child is crying. So before the child was born, the crying was not there. So that's called Pragabhava, prior non-existence. Then you know that child is born because it starts crying, which crying was not there before it was born. Similarly, the Purupakshi said that. So this is a rule. Utpatti Matam, whatever is created, such as Tejaha, such as fire, Purvottara Kalayoho Vishesha Sambhavyate. That there must be a difference between the time when the fire was not and the time when the fire comes into being. Prakash Pragutpatte Prakashadikaryam na bhuva paschad bhavati iti. That before the fire came into existence, its effect, namely illumination, burning, etc., was not there, and then fire came into existence, so now we have light, we have this burning. So this is the mark of creation, prior non-existence. A thing does not exist before it is created, and everything has its own vishesha or peculiarity, meaning that that peculiarity was not there and now it is there, so know that creation has taken place, as in case of fire. Akashasya punaha na purvottar kalayo vishesha sambhavayitum shakyate. But in case of space, if you can show that there was a time when whatever peculiarity space has did not exist, and then a time came when that peculiarity existed, and you can say that space was created. So what is the nature of space? To accommodate. So if there was a time when things were not accommodated, and then they were accommodated, then we can say that space is created. Kimi pragutpatte anavakasham asushiram achidram bhuveti shakyate adyavasadam. Is it possible for anybody to think that there was a time when accommodativeness was not there? So you can accommodate things in an aperture, in a cave, so mean that things were not accommodated, things were always accommodated. Even atoms also require accommodation, and therefore the space was always there. So this was the argument that is being refuted here now. Come back to page 510. Pragabhava Shunyatva Hetu Api Asiddha. Different hetus were given. Different reasons were given to establish why Akasha is not created. One of them was this Pragabhava Shunyatvam. There is no prior non-existence. That hetu api asiddha. That hetu also is a siddha, is not established or proven. That's what Bhashyakara says, yat uktam ityadina. Bhashya says, yat uktam. आकाशस्य उत्पत्तौ न पूर्वोत्तरकालयोः विशेषः संभावयितुं शक्यते इति. यच्च उक्तम्. This Purvapaksha said, Akashasya Utpattau. If Akasha is created, then Purvottar Kalayo Vishesha Na Sambhavetam Shakyate. It is not possible for anybody to imagine a situation where things are not accommodated. Can you think of that? As long as things are there, so long accommodation is required. And these atoms are eternal entities. And therefore you require accommodation to accommodate atoms. So we cannot conceive of a situation when the peculiarity of Akasha, namely accommodation, was not there. Iti uktam Akashasya utpattau na purvottar kalayo vishesha sambhavitum shakyate. Therefore, for establishing the creation of space, that you have to show how some vishesha which is there when Akasha is there did not exist when Akasha was not there. We cannot think of that. Hetu asiddhya pariharati. That hetu also is not established. Bhashyakara says, tad ayuktam. So that's not right. This argument that everything was ever the same is not right. Then what is it? Bhashyakara says, yenaiva hi visheshena पृथिव्यादिभ्यः व्यतिरिच्यमानं नवः स्वरूपवत् इदानीम् अध्यस्यते स एव विशेषः प्रागुत्पत्तेः न आसीत् इति गम्यते. येनैव विशेषेण पृथिव्यादिभ्यः व्यतिरिच्यमानं नभः. See, one thing we find that the space is different from earth. Earth is an element having its own nature, its own properties, and space is not earth. Earth has the property of, solidity, tangibility. Space doesn't have tangibility. Earth has a smell as a property, space doesn't have that. So space has its own property, namely sound. Earth has its property, namely smell. So, whatever enables you to distinguish today, whatever enables you to distinguish space from earth, what does it, you know that earth is different, space is different. How do you know that? Because earth has its own characteristics and space has its own characteristics. Particularly, earth has a characteristic of the smell and the space has a characteristic of sound. And that's how we distinguish space from earth. So, yenaiva hi visheshena prithivyaadibhya vyatirichyamanam, distinct from Prithvi, earth and other elements. Nava swarupavat idanim adhyavasiyate. The two things. Not only space is different from earth, but space is its own nature and earth has its own nature. So space has its own individuality, earth has its own individuality. So whatever enables you to identify this, seva vishesha pragutpatte na asi. So before creation, the distinctions were not there between earth and the space, because space is also not created. Earth also is not created. Therefore, whatever distinguishes space from earth today that distinction did not exist. This is possible to imagine. So what's the Vishesha? Says Ratnavara, Shabdashrayatvam Vishesha. What is space? Shabdashraya Akasha. Akasha is the locus of the attribute of sound. And earth is the locus of the attribute of smell. So again says Ratnavara, Shabdadiman Akasha Pralaye Nasti. Shabdadiman Akasha. Akasha possessed of Shabda, etc. Shabda, accordativeness. So sound is the quality of space, accordativeness is the nature of space. Pralaya Nasti, Akasha is not there at the time of dissolution. Why? Nasi Drajaha, no Vyoma iti Shrutehe. The Veda says, Nasi Drajaha, at the time of dissolution, Rajaha, the Rajas was not there, and Vyoma, the space was not there. Then Ratnavara continues, Nanu Akasha Abhave Kathinyam Syadirice. If space is not there, then there is no accommodation. Then everything becomes a lump, If the accommodated is not there, then things will become lump. Then there will be Kathinyam. Then everything will be Kathina. Everything will be very lumpy or tangible. So Nanu Akasha Abhave Kathinya Syad. There will be hardness if a space is not there. It is said, Sushikshitoyam Naiyayika Tanaya. See the style here, Sushikshitoham Naiyayika Tanaya. This Naiyayika Tanaya, the child of Naiyayika seems to be well educated, So in the court of law also they say, my learned friend, they always say, they address each other as learned friend, and then show how he's not learned. So here also, Sushikshitoyam Naiyayika Tanaya. This child of Naiyayika seems to be well educated because he's making this kind of an argument. Ni Akasha Abhavaha Tad Dharmava Kathinyam. Who says that Kathinyam or the tangibility or hardness is the nature of Akasha? Who says that? Or that in absence of Akasha that there is Kathinyam. First of all, Kathinyam meaning the hardness or tangibility is not the nature of Akasha, nor nature of absence of Akasha. Then where is Kathinyam? Kathinyam is not in Akasha. Murta Dravya Vishesha. Kathinyam, that solidity, the tangibility, the hardness is the nature of Murta Dravya. Any substance having a form, a substance which has a form, that can have Kathinyam, that can have hardness. So hardness is not the nature of Akasha, hardness is the nature of Murta Dravya, a substance having a form. Tas Sanyoga Visheshova or Sanyoga Vishesha. Even a form also can be provided many atoms or particles combined. For example, there is a laddu, which may have Kathinyam, for example. So laddu may have some hardness. But how is it created? The individual particles of wheat, there is a sanyoga. They join with each other. That's how a solid substance is formed. So solidity is there. So either laddu is a solidity or the sanyoga, the conjunction of different particles making a laddu have solidity. Tacha pralaya. So all we mean is that Murta Dravya is not there. Any substance with a form is not there in pralaya, or therefore the association sanyoga also is not there. So if Kathinyam is not there in pralaya, is not to do with the space or anything like that. Then says again Ratnavra, Akasha Shariram Brahmaiti Shrutehe Agnyaushnivat Brahma Svabhavasya Akashasya Sati Brahmani Katham Bhava Tatra. Now you go to another sutra, saying page 501, Shabdacha. See, this sutra said, Shabda Khalu Akashasya Ajatvam Khyapayati. Again, the same Ekadeshir said that by Shabda, even Shruti also says that Akasha is Ajam, is unborn. So from the various statements of the Upanishad, the Veda also, we can conclude that Akasha is not born. So what are the statements? Yata Vayuscha Antariksham Chetat Amritam. This Vayu, the air, Etat Antariksham, and the space also are immortal. Iti. Nahi amrutasya utpatti upapadyate. What is immortal, you cannot imagine creation of that. Because what is created is mortal, so immortal must not be created also. Akashavat sarvagatasya nityaheti. And Atma is said to be Akashavat sarvagata, all pervasive, like space, nitya. Atma is nitya, like space, Akashavat. Idija Akashana Brahma Sarvagatatva Nityabhyam Dharmabhyam Upamimana. So therefore Brahma Sarvagatatva Nityatvabhyam Dharmabhyam Upamimane Akashasyapi Tau Dharmo Suchayati Upamimane. So when Brahma is compared to Akasha, Akash Sarvagatam, all pervasive, Nityam, eternal. So it is from the all pervasiveness and eternality of space that they teach us that Brahma also is all pervasive and eternal. So when will you say Akashavat Saragatam cha Akash Saragatasya Nitya, like space is all pervasive and eternal, so also Atma or Brahma is all pervasive and eternal. So that space is eternal and all pervasive, so uncreated. Naja tadrushasya utpatti upapadyate. It is not possible to visualize the creation of what is immortal and what is all pervasive. Sayatha anantoyam akasha evam ananta atma veditavyah. Again. Just as anantoyam akasha, this akasha is ananta, is endless, meaning is infinite. The akasha is infinite, so also atma is infinite. Akasha shariram brahma. Brahma is akasha as its shariram. So Brahman cannot be different from its own sharira. Akasha atma. Akasha is atma. So all these Shabda meaning, all these statements from the Vedas, mainly Upanishads, were presented there in support of the contention that the space is not created. So now this is being taken up. Earlier, Gauni Asambhava, the different reasons why the Akasha is not created were taken up. Now how Akasha is Nitya from the statement of Shruti are also taken up. So going back to page 510, says Ratnava, Akasha Shariram Brahma iti Shrutehe. So Shruti said, Akasha Shariram Brahma, Akasha is Sharira, the body of Brahman. Agni Aushnavata Brahma Svabhavasya Akashasya. So just as Aushnyam or heat is the nature of fire, so also space is the nature of Atma or Brahma. Akasha Shariram Brahma. So Brahman is Akasha Shariram. So just as fire has heat as its nature, so also Brahma is Akasha as its nature. So Brahma Svabhavasya Akashasya Sati Brahmani. Akasha, which is the nature of Brahman, So as long as Brahman is there, Akasha must be there. As long as fire is there, Aushnyam, the heat must be there. Similarly, if Akasha is Sharira of Brahma, then as long as Brahma is there, Akasha must be there. So Sati Brahmani, now you say that Brahman is never created. So Brahman is always there. Sati Brahmani Katham Abhava. How can it be then that Brahman is there and Akasha is not there? See, at the time of dissolution, Brahman is there. Now, Vedantin, you are claiming that in Pralaya or dissolution, Brahman is there, Akasha is not there. But Akasha is Sharira of Brahman. Like heat is the nature of fire, so if fire is there, heat must be there. So Akasha is the Sharira means Swabhava of Brahman. So if Brahman is there, Akasha must be there. How can it be that Brahman is there and Akasha is not there? Tatra yatha chaiti. To that Bhashyakara replies, yatha cha Brahma na sthuladivihi prasivyadi svabhavihi svabhavat asthulam ananu ityadi shrutibhyah evam आकाश स्वभावेनापि न स्वभाववत् अनाकाशम् इति श्रुतेः अवगम्यते. यथा च ब्रह्म न स्थूलादिभिः पृथिव्यादि स्वभावैः स्वभाववत्. See, Brahman does not possess Swabhava, the nature of Prithvi. Brahman does not possess the nature of earth and water and fire, etc. Why do you say that? Asthulam ananu. So Prithvi is characterized by being sthula, being gross, and Brahman is not gross. Therefore, Brahman does not possess the nature of Prithvi. So Brahman is not possessed of nature like that of Prithvi. Ananu. So all of these, and then asrasvam, adirgham, it is not short, it is not long, this parimana. The gross and subtle and long and short, these are all the measures. All the measures are there in earth, which is tangible, solid substance. And Brahman, nature of Brahman doesn't have these things, so Brahman is devoid of these things in its nature. Similarly, evam akasha svabhavena na svabhavat. Similarly, Brahman doesn't have akasha as its svabhava also. Just Brahman doesn't have Prithvi as its svabhava, so Brahman doesn't have akasha also as its svabhava, because anakasham iti shrutehe. Shruti says anakasham. Brahma is anakasham, devoid of akasham. So, what was Akasha Shariram Brahma? Continuing Bhashya, Tasmat Pragutpattehe Anakasham iti sthitam. Tasmat Utpatte Prag. Therefore, before the creation, Anakasham. Brahma is Anakasham, non-Akasha. Devoid of the akashatvam, devoid of this spaceness. It is sthidam. So that remains, that still remains. Meaning that your arguments have not proven our position. Our position is Brahman is devoid of akasha, has not been refuted by Siddham. That position remains. Now go to Ratna Prabha. Vibhutvat akasha samam brahma iti shrutyartha. When he said akasha shariram brahma, Brahman is akasha as its sharira. All it is meant is vibhutvat akasha samam brahma. That Brahman is vibhu, all pervasive. Akasha also is pervasive in that sense. Brahman is similar to akasha. So all pervasiveness of Akasha is presented as an example to illustrate the all pervasiveness of Brahman. That doesn't mean that Akasha and Brahman are one. The law continues, vibhutva asparsha dravyatva. The vibhutvat should not be vibhutva. That takara should not be there. Asparsha dravyatva niravaya dravyatva linganam vivaktatvadi linga sahita agamabadam api aha. That Akasha is Vibhu, all pervasive. Asparsha Dravya, it is a substance which is characterized by Asparsha, untouched by anything else. Niravayava, that it is Niravaya, partless. So these are claimed to be the characteristics of Akasha. So these are Linga. Linga means these are the evidences or the chinna, the distinguishing marks by which they want to show that Akasha is not created. Akasha is Vibhu, all pervasive, therefore not created. Akasha is asparsha dravyam. It is dravya devoid of sparsha or touch, therefore it is not created. Akasha is niravaya dravyam. It is also a dravya which is partless, therefore not created. So these were various hetus. Vivaktatvadi linga sahita agamabadaha. All these hetus are actually denied by Veda. Veda denies or negates this kind of properties of Akasha. And Vivaktatvadi linga, of course, Akasha is distinguished from earth and others, that linga is there. So those lingas are not there, this linga is there. They were agama badam. So those linga or those chinna or distinguishing characters of Akasha, which are presented as the reasons for its uncreatedness, they are agama bada, they are negated by agama, negated by the Vedas. Yadapi, so Bhashyakara says, Yadapi uktam prasivyadi vaidharmyat akashasya ajatvam iti. It's also stated that Prithvi has tangibility, is not all pervasive, is sparsha dravya. Prithvi can be touched, Prithvi has form, Prithvi is not all pervasive, and therefore Prithvi is created. Akasha is distinct from Prithvi, never Akasha is not created. So we know that Prithvi is created. That is accepted. And what are the characters of Prithvi? Prithvi is a substance dravya. But number one, it is not vibhu, not all pervasive. Number two, sparsha dravya. It is characterized by touch. Thirdly, it is savayavam. It is made up, it's an aggregate made up of many components. So whatever is created should have this. And Akasha is all pervasive, doesn't have touch, doesn't have the avayava or part, therefore Akasha is uncreated. So yadipi uktam prasivyadi vaidharmyat akashasya ajatmamiti. What you are saying, that akashasya ajatvam, Akasha is uncreated because it is quite different. Dharma or characteristics are quite different from that of Prasudi and others. Bhashyakara replies, Tadapi asata. That also is incorrect. Why? Shruti virode sati utpatti asambhava anumanasya avasatva upapattehe utpatte anumanasya cha darshitatva. Shruti virode. If there is an anumanam or there is an inference that militates against what the Shruti says, the inference cannot be accepted as pramanam. See, Naiyayika's position is that they will accept Veda as pramanam if Veda conforms to reasoning. Vedantin says that we will accept reasoning as pramanam provided it conforms to Veda. So that's our position. Therefore, Shruti virodhe sati. If there is an inference that you presented, vibhutvam, asparsha dravyatvam, niravaya dravyatvam, so vibhutvat, asparsha dravyatvat, and then niravaya dravyatvat, etc. So that anumanam, shruti virodhe sati, whether anumanam is something that stands in contradiction to what the shruti says, then utpatti sambhav anumanasya, the anumanam inference was showing utpatti sambhava, akasha cannot be created because it is vibhu, because it is this, because it is that. But as long as the conclusion arrived at by inference goes against what the shruti says, then avasato upatte, that anumanam is fallacious. So anumanam is false if the conclusion contradicts with what the shruti says. Okay. Then Bhashyakara said, Upapatti anumanasya darshitatvat. And we clearly also given the anumanam which proves utpatti. Akasha, vikaraha, vivaktatvat, gatadivat. That anumanam has been given. And therefore, so there is an anumanam or inference which conforms with what the Shruti says. And therefore the inference that contradicts what the Shruti says cannot be accepted as a true inference. There is fallacy or fallaciousness there. Nyaya shunya shrutihi anumanam apavaritum asamartha. That's the same thing. Then itascha akasasya na nityatvam. Somebody must have entered into the speaker, I think. डिस्कनेक्ट करे माने बंदे डिस्कनेक्ट करे इंटरेस्टिंग Now Bhashyakara continues. Itascha akasasya na nityatvam. For this further reason also we say that akasha is not nitya, is not eternal. Anityam akasham anitya gunashrayatvat ghatadivada ityadi prayoga sambhavachya. So here one thing is, the anumanam that you are presenting goes against Shruti, therefore it's a false anumanam, number one. Number two, that we have given the anumanam which shows akasha is created, which is in conformity with the Shruti, therefore that is right anumanam. Third, we can also give you anumanam, by which it can be proven how akasha is not eternal, akasha is impermanent. Anityam akasham anumanam. Pratigna. Anityam akasham. Akasham, space anityam is impermanent. Non-eternal. Why? Anitya gunashrayatvat. Because Akasha is Ashraya, is a locus of Anitya Guna, impermanent quality like sound. Sound is an impermanent, not a permanent thing. Sound is not an eternal thing. And Akasha is the locus of sound which is not eternal. Therefore Akasha is not eternal. Ghata Adivata. Just as Ghata or a part is a locus of attribute of partness which is not eternal. Because partness did not exist before the part was created. Partness will not be there after the part is destroyed. So partness is transitory, ephemeral, non-eternal. So Ghata, which is the locus of partness is not eternal, therefore Ghata also is not eternal. Similarly, the space is the locus of the quality of sound. And sound is not eternal, therefore the space which is the locus of the non-eternal quality should also be non-eternal. Ityadi prayoga sambhavacha. So this kind of anumana also are possible to prove the anityatvam or non-eternality of Akasha. Going to Ratnaprabha, dharma vikara abhave gurunasho nasyaditi tarkartham anityapadam. See, gurunasho nasyad. A guna will not be destroyed if the guna is not destroyed. When will partness be destroyed? Partness will be destroyed when the part is destroyed. If partness is eternal, then part also must be eternal. You follow? Part possesses partness. If partness is eternal, then part has to be eternal. If partness is not eternal, then only part will not be eternal. So dharma vikaramava. If the part is dharmi and partness is dharma, if part did not undergo change, then partness also will not undergo change. If part did not get destroyed, then partness also will not get destroyed. The fact that partness get destroyed means part also is destructible. So dharma vikaramave gunanasho nasyaditya anityapadam, anitya gunashayatva. And so in the hetu, gunas not gunashayatva, anitya gunashayatva. That guna is anitya, and therefore the guni also must be anitya. Dharma is anitya, so dharmi also must be anitya. Gunashayatvam hetuhu, so anitya gunashayatvat. That basically gunashayatvat is a hetu. Anitya is not required, but anyway, anitya added to guna to show that the guni also is anitya. So gunashayatvam eva hetu. Basically, akasham anityam gunashayatvat ghatadivat. That's how it should be. So says Nyaya Nirnay, Akasho jayate mahabhutatvat asmadari bhashendriya grahya guna adharattvadva prithvivyadavati anumanam adi shabdartha ityadi prayoga sambhavat. What other prayoga can be there? This other prayoga. Akasho jayate mahabhutatvat. That Akasha is created because it is one of the five elements. Asmadadi, Bhashendriya, Grahya, Guna, Adharatvad. Either it is because it is a Mahabhuta and all Mahabhutas are created, Akasha also is Mahabhuta is created, or Asmadadi, Bhashendriya, Grahya, Guna, Adharatvad. Akasha is possessed of the Guna of the sound, which is something that we grasp by or perceive with our external sense organs. Prithvivyadivata. Just as Prithvi is possessed of the quality of smell which we perceive through our external sense organ, so also Akasha is possessed of sound which we perceive through our sense organ, namely organ of hearing. Therefore, like Prithvi is impermanent, Akasha also is impermanent. Or Prithvi is born, Akasha also is born. Adyasya hetoho anyatara anaikantikatvam chodayati. What is Adya hetu? Gunashrayatvam. That Akasha is Gunashraya and therefore is impermanent, then Atma also is Gunashraya, so Atma also must be impermanent. See, the Vaisheshikas accept Atma as possessed of many dharmas. Ichcha, Dvesha, Sukham, Dukkham, All of these are said to be the dharma, the attributes of Atma. So, Akasha is Gunashraya and so impermanent, then Atma also is Gunashraya, like Ichcha, Dvesha, Sukha, Dukkha. And then Prayatna and so many other nine gunas are there. So then Atma also, then same rule applies to Atma. Atma also is impermanent. So Adyasya Hetu Anaikantikam Vyabhichara. That Hetu which you presented for Akash to be impermanent, that same Hetu also applies to Atma, by which Atma also will be proved impermanent. So Vashyakara says, Atmani Anaikantikam iti chet. So this is the Purva Paksha. Atmani Anaikantikam. Here there is a Vibhichara. In Atma also, same Hetu applies to Atma also because Atma also is Gunashraya. Iti chet. If that's your argument, then the answer is given. Nirgunatva Shruti Mahashitya Pariharti. Says no, Atma is Nirguna. That's what the Shruti says. न तस्य औपनिषदं प्रति अनित्यगुणाश्रयत्व असिद्धेः. No, न तस्य औपनिषदं प्रति. For a person who is a follower of Upanishad called Upanishada. So for a person who is a follower of Upanishad, for that anityagунाश्रयत्व श्रुते सिद्धेः. Because Upanishad clearly says, so what is it? Sakshi Cheta Kevalo Nirgunascha. Very clearly says that Atma is Nirguna. So you say that Atma is possessed of Ichcha Dvesha. We don't accept it. Upanishadam Prati. Those who are the followers of Upanishad, for them Atma is Nirguna, not Saguna. So Atma is not a Gunasha and therefore is not impermanent. So says Ratnava, Tatcha Swasamana Sattaka Gunavatvam Ata Nirgunatmani Na Vyabhichara. Gunashrayatva. Something is Ashraya or locus of a guna or a quality. There, the Guni and Guna are the same Satta. So Akasha is the locus of the quality of sound. Akasha and sound have the same degree of reality. So Swasamana Sattaka Gunavat. Akasha is the locus of the sound which has the same degree of reality as Akasha. Just as Prithvi is the locus of the quality of fragrance and the fragrance has the same degree of reality as Prithvi. Then it's called Saguna. It's called Gunavat. Provided the Guna also has the same degree of reality as the Guni or the locus. So even though you say that Brahma is Sagunam Brahma, although we use that expression, Saguna Brahma, when you say Brahman possessed of attributes, but in a proper sense it is not possible, because attributes do not enjoy the same degree of reality as Brahman. Brahman enjoys Paramadika Satta, Guna or attributes enjoy the Vyavaharika Satta, so there is not Samana Sattagatvam, they do not enjoy the same degree of reality. Therefore, in real sense, Brahman cannot be said to be Saguna. So there, what's the relationship between Brahman and Guna? Similar to that between rope and snake, the Gunas are superimposed upon Brahman. Gunas don't enjoy the same degree of reality as Brahman. However, in case of Prithvi, the smell enjoys the same degree of reality as Prithvi. The sound enjoys the same degree of reality as Akasha. Therefore, Akash can be properly called the locus of sound. That is, Brahman cannot be called the locus of Guna. Atah Nirgunatmani na Vyabhichara. Therefore, that Hetu does not exist, which refers to Atma. There is Nirguna or so Gunashrayatvam was the Hetu. Does not exist in Atma, which is Nirguna or without attributes. Bhutatvam Adi Shabdasa. So Bhutatvam is Akasho Jayate Mahabhutatva. So Bhutatvam is an Akasha, is not there in Atma also. Swarupa Siddhim Apya. And then this Hetu, Vibhutvat, Asparsha Dravyatvat, nirvaya dravyatvat. All hetus are presented for showing Akasha is unborn. So Swarupa Siddham, the hetu also are unproven. Subhasyakas vibhutvadinam chaiti. Vibhutvadinam cha Akashasya Utpattivadinam prati Asiddhatva. Utpattivadinam prati. For a Vedantin who claims that Akasha is born, Vedantin is Shruti. So Vedantin is one who looks upon Upanishad as a Pramanam. Vedanta Nama Upanishad Pramanam. And Upanishad clearly says, Tasmadva etasmat atmana akasha sambhutah. That from this Atma, that is that Brahman, that is Atma, from that Akasha is born. So the Utpattivadi. So one who is Upanishad, meaning the follower of Upanishad, also accepts the Utpatti of the creation of space. And therefore, we don't accept that Akasha is all pervasive. Akasha is some kind of all pervasiveness, but not all pervasiveness of Atma. Akasha is also a sparsha, you can say, but not in a primary sense. In the Vyavaharika sense, you can say that Akasha is Vibhu, Asparsha Dravyam, Niravayavam. But in the Paramadik sense, you cannot say that. So, the all pervasiveness of Akasha is not the same as all pervasiveness of Atma. Therefore, even all pervasiveness, Vibhutvam, etc., which are presented by you as a hetu for the ajatvam unbornness of Akasha, also not proven. We don't accept Akasha as possessor of those attributes or those hetus. Then going to Nyaya Nirnaya. Akashasya nityatve na anumanam stili upapadya. So it has been now shown by reasoning that there is no anuman of inference which can establish the anutpatti, the non-creation of Akasha, or that Akasha is nitya. There is no anumanam that can establish nityatvam, the eternality of Akasha. Iti upadya, having shown that with reasoning, yacheduktam shabda nityatam iti tadanudya dushayati. Said that Akasha is nitya because the Shruti says that. So that is repeated here, reiterated, and then refuted. Yachedaditi. Yacheda is different again, isn't it? Okay, so Bhashyakara says, Yacche uttam etashabdacha iti tatra amrutatva shrutihi tavat viyati amrutaha divaukasaha iti vat drashtavya. See, Vayuscha Antariksham-cha etat amrutam. See in Shabda. Vayuscha Antarikshascha etat amrutam. Vayuscha Antariksham-cha etat amrutam. That this Antariksha, the space, is amrutam, immortal. So yaccha etat, yaccha uktam, etat shabdacha iti. Etat Antariksham amrutam. So, by the Shabda on the strength of that statement, Tatra Amrutatva Shruti Tavat, that immortal, that space is immortal, Vayu is immortal, space is immortal. Vyati, as far as immortal aspect of Vyat is concerned, space is concerned, Amrutaha Divaukasa, that is only Sapeksha Amrutatvam, is immortal, immortality, not in primary sense, only in a relative sense. Amrutaha Devaukasa. Devaukasa means Devatas. So gods are immortal. Everybody knows that gods also are not immortal. God also has their own lifespan. Even Indra also is not immortal. In one day of Brahma, there are 14 Indras, 14 Manus, 14 Indras in one day of Brahma. So Indra also is a position which is given to him for a period of time, which is earned for a period of time. And so Devatas also are not permanent. Devatas are also not eternal in that sense, or immortal in the primary sense. So just as you call Devatas immortal, so also you call space immortal only in a Gauni or a relative sense, not in the primary sense. Meaning that the immortality or Amrutatvam, which the Shruti says in Akasha, is not in a primary sense, is only in a secondary sense, a relative sense. Then, kim iti अमृतत्व श्रुति आपेक्षिकी व्याख्यायते मुख्यार्थ किम न स्यात् इति आशंका है. Kimiti, so the Purvapakshi says, hey, why do you say that Amrutatvam is relative and when not absolute, why not? Kimiti Amrutattva Shruti apekshiki vyakhyayate. Why do you say that? So Antariksham Amrutam. Why do you say that Amrutam or immortal is only relative? Mukhyartha kim nasyat. Why not that Amrutam word should be in a primary sense? Why not? So that answer is given. Utpatti Utpatti pralayoho Upapaditatva. Utpatti pralayoho. We already shown by reasoning that Akasha is created. So Utpatti of Akasha is shown. Akasha karyam etc. Vikara. We already shown that. Vivaktatvat. So in different that Akasha is a karyam, Akash also anityam akasham, anitya guna shayatvar, and so many hetu reasons, anumanas are given, reasons are given, Shruti statements are given to establish Akasha utpatti, creation as pralaya, has dissolution. Then where is the question of immortality? So when they create utpatti and pralaya of Akasha are shown here with Shruti as well as inference, where the question of Akasha being immortal in the primary sense. Therefore, even though Shruti says Amrutam, the immortality is to be interpreted only in a secondary sense. Then says, न्याय आकाशस्य अनित्यत्वं चेत् आत्मनि तत्तुल्य श्रुति व्याहन्येत इति आशंका. आकाशस्य अनित्यत्वं चेत्, if Akasha is anitya, is impermanent, then तत्तुल्यत्व श्रुति आकाश शरीरं ब्रह्म आकाशवत् सर्वगतश्च नित्यः. Atma is sarvagat, all pervasive, like Akasha, nitya like Akasha. So, tulyatva shruti. The shruti which says that Atma is tulya, is equal to Atma. So, Akashavat sarvagatasya nitya, there, Atma is shown as tulya, is equal to Atma, Akasha. See, Akasha is impermanent, Atma is impermanent by the shruti. So, says Akasha, Bhashyakara says, आकाशवत् सर्वगतश्च नित्यः इत्यपि प्रसिद्धमहत्वेन आकाशेन उपमानं क्रियते नित्यशयमहत्वाय न आकाशसमत्वाय. यथा ईश्वरीव सविता धावति क्षिप्रगतित्वाय उच्यते न इष्टुल्यगतित्वाय तद्वत्. So Akashavat Sarvagatasya Nitya. Atma is Sarvagata, all pervasive like Akasha, Nitya, eternal like Akasha. There also प्रसिद्ध महत्वेन आकाश उपमानम क्रियते. So Atma is only, Akasha becomes an upama. Akasha simply becomes an illustration. Because the all pervasiveness of Akasha is Prasiddham well known. So since everybody knows what Akasha is, therefore, to explain to a person what is meant by all pervasiveness, the example of Akasha is given. So then you understand what is all pervasiveness. So Prasiddha Mahatvena Akashana Upamanam Kriyate Niratishay Mahatvaya. So that Prasiddham, the well-known all-pervasiveness of space, becomes an illustration to give you an idea what is absolute all-pervasiveness. So Akasha possesses its vibhutvam relatively. It is asparsha dravyam, doesn't have touch. Niravaya dravyam is partless. All of these are in a relative sense. These are presented as illustration to show how space is absolutely all-pervasive, absolutely partless, and absolutely free from touch, etc. So, Niritishay Mahatvaya, for unsurpassable greatness. The greatness or all pervasiveness of Akasha is presented as an illustration to show the unsurpassable greatness or all pervasiveness of Atma. Na Akasha Samatvaya. That statement is not to say that Akasha and Atma are similar. Akasha is simply an illustration for Atma. Samatma bhave na kvachit upamatma upalabdhamiti ashankya. If samatva, if the sameness is not there, then how can there be upamanam? Samatva bhave na kvachit upamanatvam upalabdhamiti. Says, can you show another example where the illustration is in a relative sense? So Bhashyakara yatha. So yatha ishvariva savita dhavati. Just as sun also runs like an arrow. Iti kshipragattvaya uchyate. So that to show how the sun also is quick in motion, fast in motion, like an arrow, but not to say that the sun moves like an arrow. Arrow is much faster than sun. But then arrow is presented as an example to show the sun also moves quickly. Similarly also, the Akash, all pervasiveness, etc. is presented only to indicate the true all pervasiveness, etc. of Atma. Going to Bhashya Ratna Prabha. Sarva Murta Dravya Sanyoga Parimana Visheshava Vibhutvam. See, Sarva Murta Dravya Sanyoga. What is Vibhutvam? What is all pervasiveness? When you say space is all pervasive, what do you mean? Sarva Murta Dravya Sanyoga. That space as Sanyoga is in contact with or associated with all the tangible Murta Dravya, all tangible substances. The space accommodates all tangible substances. Space is conjoined with, is united with, or associated with all the tangible substances, because space accommodates tangible substances. So that is called all pervasiveness. This all pervasive space is simply because it accommodates all tangible substances. That is why it's called all pervasiveness. Parimana Visheshava, or space is vast in dimension, Either because space is vast in dimension, therefore it's called all pervasive. Like the ocean is called boundless, Because it is vast in dimension, therefore ocean is called boundless. Similarly, space also is vast in dimension, so it's called all pervasive. Or it accommodates all substances, so it's called all pervasive. The reason why Vibhutvam, all pervasive of space, is because of this. Nirgunatmani drishtante nasti darstante. But in fact, that kind of accommodation, etc., is not there in Atma. Therefore, Atma is not equal to Akash, or Akash is not equal to Atma. संयोगस्य सावयत्व नियतस्य अजत्व साध्य विरुद्धता च. So संयोगस्य सावयव नियतस्य. A sanyoga is possible only between two substances which are aggregates. A partless thing cannot be associated with another thing. Two things can come in contact with each other if both of them are savayava, if both of them are assemblies of parts, both of them aggregates, then alone two things can come in contact with each other. And so savayava niyatasya. So if Akash has sanyoga with all these tangible matter, then Akash is savayava, because without savayava, without being in assembly at parts, sanyoga is not possible. If you claim that Akash has sanyoga with all the tangible substances, then Akash also is proven to be with parts, because that sanyoga would not be. Ajatva sadhya viruddhata cha. If Akasha is also possessed of parts, then it is also created, and therefore it cannot be unborn. Then Swarupa Upachaya Rupam Toyutam Atma Akasha na samam. And then to say that Swarupa Upachaya, the Akasha is all extended, So Upachaya means growth. Akasha is all growth. Therefore, that kind of all pervasiveness is not there in Atma. Atma transcends the idea of pervasiveness also. We call Atma is all pervasive not because it pervades like space, but it even transcends the idea of pervasiveness. Because space and time and all of these are in consciousness, therefore we say consciousness is all pervasive. But the all pervasive of space, consciousness, is not the same as all pervasive of Akasha. Akasha is all pervasive only as far as the Vyavaharik world is concerned, because of its great dimension, or because it is expanded, But Atma in fact transcends the idea also of that kind of great dimension. So when you think in your mind of all pervasive, you think of great dimension. That's not the all pervasiveness of Atma, but that's presented only as an illustration. Jayan Akashat iti Shrutehe. So Atma is Akashat Jayan. That Atma is even greater than Akasha. That means what? The all pervasiveness of Atma is greater than all pervasiveness of Akasha. And so they are not similar, they are not equal. Kvachid Akasha samyam tu brahmana yat kinchit dharma sambandhena vyapadeshyate. Kvachit. Now and then Akasha samyam tu brahmana. That Brahman is similar to Akasha is vyapadeshyate, is taught by Shruti or indicated by Shruti for yat kinchit dharma sambandhena. Because in some way the dharma or the attributes of Akasha possesses in some ways dharma or the attributes similar to that of Brahman. Like Akashavat Sarvagatasya Nitya etc. And therefore Akasha is presented as an illustration of Brahman. Asaktatvenava, for Akasha is asaktam, is unattached to anything. So the unattachment also is presented as an example of unattachment of Brahma. But Panchikaranat asparshatvam asiddham. But Akasha is what? Panchikrita Mahabhuta. Therefore Panchikaranat means that the five elements are there. Suppose in Akasha all four are also there. Therefore asparshatvam asiddham, sparsha also is there in Akasha. If you say Akasha is Panchikritam. Karya dravyatvat niravyatvam asiddham, and Akasha is the product, therefore anything that is product is always savayava. So Akasha is being a product also, niravayava cannot be niravayatam asiddham. Dravyatva jatischa atmani asiddha. Dravyatva jatischa, Akasha is dravya. Akasha also is born by birth jati. So atmani asiddha. Therefore, all of these are not there in Atma. Therefore, Akasha is not equal to Atma. So this is refuting the various hetus given by them. That Akasha is Vibhu. Akasha cannot be Vibhu in a primary sense. It's only Parimana. It's only vastness. That's all that is there. Or Akasha cannot be Asparsha Dravya. Because Akasha is Panchikrutam. So Vayu also is there. So Sparsha also is there. Akasha cannot be Niravaya because it is created. Therefore, it means Savayava. So hetus presented by the Vaisheshikas and Naiyayikas to show the Nityatva of Akasha, all those hetus also are refuted. Nityeti amshena samyam na vivakshitam akashavat sarvagatasya nitya hai. Just because they say nitya does not mean akasha and atma is similar. That nityata also, eternality also, is only relative, not absolute. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll complete this Brahma Sutra and go to the next one. It's the next Adhikaranam. So if you want to bring your Vaiyasika Nyayamala tomorrow, you may want to bring. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo